Just before we leave Ayot through the Kissing Gate, walk over a little path to Welwyn, we have a picture here of Mr. Cheeseman and Mr. Bailey. These were the signalmen who operated the signal box right up until its very end in 1969. Marvellous little chaps they are.
Now maybe the young lady that we met, who's now living in the station house, she may remember these guys.
Oh, she would have known them, definitely. They're the ones that allowed her in the box.
Yeah.
Unofficially, of course.
Of course, yeah. Wouldn't like to cause any problems.
We are now just about to leave Ayot. We're at the Kissing Gate here, and we're going to walk along the little path around here to Welwyn Village. Now, obviously, this is the name of the village that gave Welwyn Garden City its name. We're going to walk over here across the A1M, which isn't on this map obviously, and get back on the A1, the Great North Road. We're going to walk back up here to the old railway bridge.
And obvious reasons why, as you saw the yard, which was up that way, we can't walk through it. No. Because it's all filled with foliage and impossible to walk.
So we're about to go through the Kissing Gate now. As you can see, it was a very, very big structure. You know, they never skimp in the old railways. And look at the size of this concrete post, just to hold a gate up. Incredible.
Right, so we're going to make our way off the track and into the village.
Into Welwyn Village.
Let's go.
Right.
So off the beaten track, as they say.
Yeah. But as you can see, even by the 1923 Ordnance Survey map, this path was still here. And I've no doubt this would have been the main path from Ayot Village to Welwyn Village, possibly used by school children, who knows. But obviously on the days before there was much in the way on the roads and what have you, the railway line was very important, although the station itself wasn't enormously used for passengers. There was a lot of freight in the yard. And that's all I can say.
That's fair enough. Looking to the left, you can see the trees in the distance, and that's where the A1M is. Might be able to pick some of the sound up on the microphone. So we've got to go round in a loop. Come out onto the road now, heading up towards the village.
Glorious day again, Gavin.
Yeah, lovely, isn't it?
We've been lucky this year with the weather.
When we think about some of the walks that we did, we froze.
Oh, crikey.
Oh, and it would rain. Yeah. And the times we had to abandon even before we started because of the weather.
Oh, absolutely. This is why sometimes we used to apologise for the length of time it was between one film to another, because we tried it. I mean, there was that time we tried to walk from Dunstable to Luton. I think we tried 3 or 4 times. Each time it started raining.
Chucked it down on us. Yeah. And the trouble is when you get halfway through the route, there's nowhere to go.
No.
And you're stuck because you've got to walk all the way back. Just walking past Ayot Green. Very nice.
The little cottages on the left-hand side. Amazing. I will admit, I've never really been up to this bit before, but what a fantastic little place. And if Gavin pans round slightly to the left, through the trees, there's the bridge over the A1, where we're heading for. crossing the A1. How different times are now, because just to the other side of it is the original A1, the Great North Road, which is this ordinary.
I'm not so great with heights.
Road.
And I know we're not up high, but I do struggle with these sort of things. What a thing of beauty, what do you think, eh?
I would say, Gav.
Oh, look at them bikes, love
roughly it. Where they built that embankment,
yes.
I would say that's roughly where the line went across. Might have been a little bit further on, but it wouldn't have been much further.
Let's try and zoom in on it. Yeah, you can see that little embankment that Andy's just mentioned. Right.
And this cuts across the little railway line that used to be here, and across all the sidings that used to be at Ayot. All gone.
Well, come on then, my friend, let's get off this noisy bit.
Yeah.
Well, let's,
not much to look at. I will admit though, as we was walking through our green, a little village there, it must be the trees or what have you, but you really couldn't hear it that loudly, could you?
That was quite well shielded. Lots of push bikes out today.
Oh yeah. Okay, we turn the corner now.
At least we got a path this time, unlike the first part of our walk.
We're now walking up the A1, as we said. We've come to the Red Lion Public House. You can actually see it was still here in 1923. A big building and well frequented now. Literally just past it was the rail line and the bridge. And there's the bridge just down in the darkness. But the Red Lion is still here, well frequented.
Looks very nice. Might need a visit on the way home.
Oh, that's certainly. We're now standing here. These two pictures are taken from, one of them was taken from the train as it's heading towards Welwyn Garden City. Again, the signal post was quite high because coming from Welwyn Garden City, you wouldn't be able to see the signal. So it's raised higher, way above the height of the bridge. Here you can see the down distant signal. This controlled the down loop as it was heading towards this line, going back onto the single track heading underneath the A1M. And this train here is an N2 about to leave the passing loop. This was heading towards Welwyn Garden City under the Great North Road A1. The down home signal had to be tall so it could be seen above the bridge.
Again, thanks again, Geoff and Sue, for allowing us to use this footage, these photos from your publication. Really helpful. The light is awkward because it's a very sunny day. That's where the train would have gone, underneath us. And just panning round nice and slowly because the runner's just gone past us. You can see the actual bridge there.
In this picture, you can quite clearly see the passing loop here. This was taken from the bridge that we are standing on. The passing loop was still here. However, you can see quite clearly the sidings had already been lifted. So this picture would have been taken about 1969, 1970. In the distance, you can just make out the signal box. But all through here is now where the A1M is. Hence, we can't show you anymore. This picture was taken on top of that very tall signal I was talking about a little while ago. Quite clearly, you can see the A1 bridge, the railway line going through it. One thing I will say is that you can actually see the width of the bridge is wider than you actually think where the track is. Well, when they built the line, they actually thought about it may be double tracked in years to come. Of course, it never was, but when they built the line, that's what they was thinking of.
This bridge above us is not the original bridge.
No, this footbridge here is obviously a modern thing.
It's a modern thing. The bridge that's actually running alongside is on the other side.
On the other side, yes.
Which has been dismantled and isn't there. Now, it has been inhabited with instant barbecues and various other things, but we're not interested in that. Let's go and have a look from the other side. Lots of graffiti on this. Obviously, some of it not the most choicest of words, but there we are.
What you can't actually see from the pictures, Gavin, is this is actually a skew bridge. It's on a slight angle to the railway line. Hence, if you look at the brickwork, it looks like it's all going downhill. But that's how they would have deliberately built it. Just on top there, you can see the concrete abutment there. That's probably where the footbridge that they built much later on after they built this bridge was. In this picture now, you can quite clearly see the footbridge. The footbridge was on this side of the bridge, as opposed to where it is on the other side now.
So it sort of makes sense because you can see more concrete work here.
Yep.
Which would have supported it. And as Andy said, you can see it's on a skew. It's built slightly,
Gavin,
on an angle.
We are standing in the same spot now.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're standing in this spot.
Look at that. We're almost in the exact photograph location. Look at that. Hang on. If I do that and then stand up like that. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Yeah, fabulous.
You can just about see the brackets, look, for where the wires would have gone. Can you just see?
Yes, up here on the left.
Yeah.
Just in case it doesn't show it too well on the camera. Can you see them? Yeah.
And also the brackets in the wall there. They held the telegraph wires.
See that bracket there?
It's not far where the walkway begins. So there is a proper walkway, only 100 yards further on. Just worried about your camera.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thing is, Andy, we don't know if we'll ever do this part again. So
no.
This is a now or never.
Probably not, mate. You're right. But again, when you think of it, Gavin, this all had to be dug out by hand.
Yeah.
People don't realise, you know, that you can hardly see the bridge now, can you?
No, the bridge is gone. Come across one of our old friends again.
Yeah, the level marker. On this one, yeah, I think you can just about make out that the marker pointing to the right is pointing slightly uphill, which would have been right. You're going slightly uphill to Ayot from Welwyn Garden City. Unfortunately, this has all been cut off, probably by souvenir hunters.
Yeah, sitting in somebody's garden.
And that's a level marker. Thought this might have been a bit wet.
Yeah, this looks a bit...
But it's pretty firm, mate.
Jurassic Park.
Yes, so I wouldn't want to come down here when it's rained. Aha. Looking back where we've just come from, you can see it's all overgrown and the foliage and what have you. Nature really does reclaim very quickly. But one thing that is really apparent is the cutting, how deep this was to go underneath the A1 and then back into Ayot itself. You think that was all done by hand. You know, the amount of time and effort it would have taken by the navvies. But these navvies were big guys. They were used to shoveling tons of earth every day. And most of them got paid by the amount of soil they moved. So it was in their interest to do as much as they can. So after the evening, after their 12-hour shift, they could go to the pub and drink it off, which most of them did.
Very productive.
We've carved the track bed just a little bit because we've come across this wall here. Now this is substantial. This just hasn't been placed here. It was put here for a reason. And I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe this could well have been a footbridge going across the railway line. The railway line, as we know, is just down there. We've just come up from the cutting itself, and I think this would have been a footbridge. Why else would there have been such a amount of brickwork here?
Seems logical. And as we look round, we notice that they've used railway sleepers to protect the mud and the retainer.
Yes, they kept the mud out, so they've made the path clear. It's what we're now walking on.
However, we're heading this way.
And as Gavin spotted, the old fence posts.
Yes.
So we're now back on railway land proper.
Arcs round to the right here,
yeah,
and so we're going down this
slope.
So
obviously there probably was a bridge there. Which
yeah, in fact you can see the brick.
Ah, yes.
There.
Yes, that's the other side. So there would have been a pedestrian bridge. I'm standing in roughly the same spot now. You can see a Class N7, number 69617, as it struggles up away from Welwyn Garden City through Brock's Wood with a passenger train bound for Dunstable on July the 4th, 1953, having left the down distance signal. This was a 1 in 56 gradient where banking engines would sometimes be needed and wagon numbers were restricted. A banking engine is basically where a loco would be put on the back of another loco to help propel it up, because a 1 in 57 is quite a steep incline for a steam engine.
Okay. So again, thanks Jeff for the photo. We're not sure exactly where that photo was taken, but we assume it would have been around here because of that footbridge that we think we've identified.
There would have been a gully or something around here for the water to disperse.
Yeah, because naturally it would have,
yeah.
The trees.
Because although you don't really see, you can't see it, we're actually coming downhill from the A1 bridge. Actually, I mean, if you look down that way, Gavin, you might be able to see clearly that we are going downhill.
Yeah.
And this is the track bed proper.
Trusty old concrete post. Yeah, look at that one.
As you can see, the old fence posts and what have you, but that's a concrete one. You don't often see them very much along the line, but as you can see, that was the boundary of the railway land to the other land the other side. In other words, they were saying to people, keep out, this is railway property.
So we see the concrete post there, which shows the boundary line, and the gully that we just saw bringing the water to the other side is still in use today.
Obviously, gaff irrigation and all that was important because you didn't want to get the truck bed flooded. So they did whatever they can to try and make sure the water flowed, but away from the track.
We could just see a concrete post submerged. So it makes us think that this is more a recent soak away, because you can just see the top of it, and I wouldn't have put a concrete post underwater. But certainly something similar would have been used, and there's another concrete post, again submerged there. You can just see it through there.
Yeah, that's
so,
railway fence. So you're right, Gavin. They wouldn't have built a pond like this. This probably is later on. In this picture, we see an N7 with a passenger train fast approaching Welwyn Builders siding. This picture was taken around 1959. The loco itself is travelling bunker first. As we said before, locos that ran down from Welwyn Garden City to Dunstable, the locos were facing the right way. But because there was nowhere really to turn them, they would just come back bunker first. So that is a clear indication that this is now travelling up towards Welwyn from Ayot. And you can see we're on an embankment here. And this is where curve. We believe we are now.
There's the embankment. Boundary fence. Curving away. Oh, we just discovered another little bit of railway infrastructure. Just sticking out there, which would have been the pulleys?
Yes, yes, they would have been the pulleys for the signal cables, signal wiring. There would have been signals up and down the branch line, and that would have held the pulley wheels where the cables would have run through. So that is quite a find, really, to get one of them.
Although it's had better days.
Certainly has.
So heading back onto the curve. Welcome to the, how do we say it? Sherard's Park?
Sherard's Wood, yeah. Sherard's Park Wood.
We've been on the curve from some time, heading back to Ayot. Good morning.
Morning.
And now into Welwyn.
Ah, maps. We like maps.
We do.
On this map here, here's the original path that we should have taken as we walked onto the track bed and then down round here. As you can see, we are now here. But we sort of come across here, just by the entrance to this road here, is the bridge, the original A1 bridge, and we walked through here, through the cutting and come onto the walkway here. So as you can see, we are now here and not very far from bridge number 1, Digswell Road, or the White Bridge. You'll notice that when we get to it. So we've not got far to go. This map is one we've just seen before, showing quite clearly the route from Dunstable all the way to Luton, Harpenden, Wheathampstead. So we are now just about here, about to go on a final little curve round to Digswell Road or the White Bridge. So we've literally done this section here. It all curves and meanders away, and it all climbs up from the main line, the Eastern Great Northern main line, up to Ayot.
So you recognise it, this map's in a better condition than the one we filmed in previous segments. So we're closing in on the end of 5 years or so, 4 to 5 years of mapping this route.
This picture shows a Type 2 locomotive number D5614 hauling its train of covered wagons containing Islington's refuge via Ashburton Grove up to Ayot, and you know where this was going? Up to Blackbridge Sidings. This was a snowy day just after Christmas 1968, and this is where it is now.
So you can see it's as straight as anything, and we're by a footpath which was probably here because you know footpaths can't be moved. I'll just film the signage there for you. Back to Ayot, and now heading towards bridge number 1. You can see the fence in there is different because it's tubular.
As opposed to the wire which they used much later on.
Would I say a little more upmarket, of course.
Yes.
You may be able to see this, we're actually still declining. We can see it with our naked eye, whether you can see it on footage, I don't know.
Just saying, yeah, we're coming down now onto the final curve onto the main line now, which was the Great Northern, or then become the London and North Eastern Railway out of King's Cross. The line is made famous for 2 reasons. First of all, the Flying Scotsman was the first steam engine credited to have pulled a passenger train at over 100 miles an hour. And of course, a bit later on, the Mallard broke the steam record of 126 miles an hour on the Peterborough Strait, and still holds the record way back from 1938 for the fastest steam train in the world. Now, just as we turn the corner, there's bridge number 1, Digswell Road, or known locally as the White Bridge. When Welwyn Garden City was being built, it was decided to replace the original bridge and put this beautiful one in place. It really is a beautiful bridge. Go on top and have a look in a minute, but we can carry on underneath for a little while. And you can see the structure of the bridge. It's concrete, it's not brick, it's concrete. But they really did a wonderful job making it. You can see there. There's the bridge in colour.
And there's a bridge in real life.
Bridge number 1. Walking up the steps now by the side of bridge number 1, Digswell Road, often known as the White Bridge, for obvious reasons. As I say, when this was first built in 1923-24, no expense was spared to make this look ornate and as wonderful as they could. And it's still here now and still looking wonderful. That's not a bad view of it, of Welwyn Garden City, is it? I'll have to find out the name who built this. This was built by some guy. I mean, look at it.
Yes, it's very, very, very picturesque. Straight all the way through, nice fountain, very nice.
So we are now at the top of Digswell Bridge, bridge number 1, the White Bridge. Just look how ornate this is. What a fantastic bridge this is. And it was a prelude to the guys who built and designed Welwyn Garden City. They wanted to make a statement. And although this is just a lonely little branch line, what more of a statement could you build for just a little branch line that went to Dunstable? Just amazing. in this picture, we can quite clearly see a double header, in other words, two trains coming around the curve from Welwyn Garden City, going up, or I should say it's on the down line, but going up to Ayot. As I said, it was a double header because there was an awful lot of weight, and a 1 in 57 gradient was very steep for a steam train. Also in this picture, you see what is known as a repeater signal. A repeater signal is exactly what it says. It repeats what the signal is showing further down the line. As you can imagine, if you're travelling up the other way to Welwyn Garden City, this curve, you could not see the signal that's guarding the points onto the main line. So they would put a repeater signal about a quarter of a mile back. So you can see quite clearly it is set at danger. It would be because you've got a train coming the other way. But if you were travelling up to Welwyn Garden City and you saw that, it would give you enough time to slow down and even stop before you reach the next signal. That's what that is. It's called a repeater signal.
And we're standing on the bridge where that photo was taken. Now, of course, here's the bridge, here's Hollow Bridge, and that's the foliage heading in to the corner. The repeater signal would have been here on the left-hand side, approximately here.
Here you see a different train on the downside of the track, although it's actually heading up from Welwyn Garden City to Ayot, passing underneath Digswell Road, or bridge number 1, the White Bridge, and you quite clearly see the repeater signal set at danger because that section is being used by this loco.
I just wondered, Andy, what's these?
These, I would say, are concrete sleepers, which they are about to replace the track. You can see quite clearly here, these are the old wooden sleepers.
Yeah.
Now obviously after a few years they get worn, especially on a curve. They get damaged, they get knocked, so they're often replaced. Now in these days, this was probably taken in the 50s, late 50s, and would have been replaced by concrete sleepers.
Fair enough.
So yeah, they're getting ready to replace the track. We'll walk underneath it and try to go a little bit further on, but we will not be able to walk the whole length of the line now, because the line now traverses to our right and will very shortly join on the main line. Just a few hundred yards further on, it's been built on. What a fabulous walk. And this really is a bit of an end of an era, really. It's been a fabulous walk. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Working with my wonderful friend Gavin, whose idea this all is. He took it on with his son all those years ago, and I followed suit. So this is all Gavin's idea to do this. I'm really, really grateful he did.
As I am grateful to you, Andy. It's been nearly 5 years of fantastic discoveries. Something that we really have enjoyed. This whole walk has been fabulous, and you know, one of the reasons we started doing these walks was way back during COVID, and both myself and Andy found ourselves in a furloughed situation, so we decided to get ourselves out and about, and walking is one of the best things for the mind, and that's what we did. We got out into the great outdoors and started walking, and of course, without realising it, we was on the railway track. So why not film it?
Crikey.
So hopefully you've enjoyed these journeys that we've took. We certainly enjoyed filming them, and we've had a great time, and hopefully you found these informative and interesting as we film history before it disappears completely. We're not experts, we're just enthusiasts who are having a good time, and hope some of this information brings back good memories for you and has made it an enjoyable time to watch when you're at home on your devices, and something to record for the future.
And we're only maybe 100 yards now from the main line, but this, as far as we can walk, really is the end of the line for us. We cannot go any more because what was the track bed is now being built on.
Oh, well, there we are, mate. I don't think people would like us walking through their garden. So thanks for walking the line.
Oh, mate, what a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. But we've not finished yet. And here I dug out a picture. This is the picture, literally, we have just walked around here. We are just underneath bridge number 1, and we are now around here. As you can see, we're only about 100 yards or so from the main line, the main railway line. But we can't get any further because it's all built on. But here's the white bridge, number 1. Although you can't see in this picture, this is Welwyn Garden City just after it was built, about 1926. Now, before Welwyn Garden City was built, it was just a small village called Welwyn, and just on this curve here was the original station. People just don't remember it, don't know about it. Just here is the new Welwyn Garden City Station, but here on the curve was Welwyn Station. As I just said, the original Welwyn Station was built on the curve coming away from Welwyn Garden City, and here it is. It's a wooden structure. You can see here is the main 4 tracks of the Great Northern / London North Eastern Railway, and here is the branch leading off on the curve. You can see quite clearly, and there was the original Welwyn Station, which was served from 1860 to 1923 when they rebuilt the station just the other side of this bridge. This is a later picture taken of a couple of Class 17 Claytons taking back the empty refuse train coming round the curve, as you can quite clearly see. This is where I just said the original Welwyn Station was, of course, all long gone. And we can't walk this bit, I'm afraid, but we're only just literally round here.
Can't go no further, of course, because there's houses and property. So that's it. That's a fence. That's the end of the line for us. But not the end of this video.
Okay, again, there's another picture here of the station just rounding the curve of the Luton branch. A local service is approaching Welwyn, as I say, it's bunker first, Welwyn Garden City Station in 1926. So this will probably be the very last year that this station was in operation, because very soon after it was all demolished and the main station just the other side of the bridge where this picture was taken was built. You can see quite clearly round there the door and the window which has been boarded up. This is a plate layer's hut, and this is actually built from concrete, which was normal. Certainly by the 1920s and 30s, if they needed to replace any wooden or brick built places, they would have used concrete. And this, I'm absolutely certain, is a plate layer's hut.
And you say the door's around here?
The door's round the side here. It's quite substantial because, again, we've just come off the main line.
Yeah, of course. It's effectively by bridge number 1.
And they would have had maybe a couple of miles of section of track that they would have had to
be responsible
for. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is definitely a plate layer's hut.
Well, there we are. Not only are we at the end of the road, or end of the line, as they say, or at the start of the line, depends how you look at it.
Absolutely.
Well, there's the first plate layer's hut. He is hiding underneath ivy. He's boarded up.
Certainly is.
So we can see the curve here, okay? This is the curve that took it to the main line.
Indeed.
Now, I just asked Andy, did it terminate there? That was it?
And the answer is no. Reason being is that the first train of the day that ran from Dunstable went straight through to King's Cross. This is actually the engine shed, and the start of the line is Hatfield, which is a bit further on. But what a lot of people used to do, they would come into Welwyn Garden City and then get the express from Welwyn Garden City into London via King's Cross. So although most of the trains did run into Hatfield, a lot of them would terminate maybe at Welwyn Garden City and run back. Certainly the later Craven's 105 DMUs did, but it actually shedded and went to Hatfield. Although this line was actually built by a company called the Welwyn, Luton, Dunstable Junction Railway, that was in 1957-58. When the line opened in 1960, the company who built the railway line found themselves very quickly had overestimated the costs and all that and ran into financial difficulties. They first approached the London North Western at Leighton Buzzard, whether they'd like to buy the line. They declined. So they approached the Great Northern, and the Great Northern said, yes, we will buy the line from you, which they did in 1861, and therefore they made the Hatfield shed the start of the main line, or Hatfield station, the start of the main line to Dunstable. Well, this is our last picture, and again, thanks very much to Geoff Woodward. This is taken from his book. I've slightly enlarged it so you can see it quite clearly, but this is the whole length of the walk we have just done. 5 years in the making, and once again thanks to Geoff and Sue for allowing us to use all the material. If I could just start at the beginning. We started at Leighton Buzzard, which is on the East Coast main line out of Euston. Over some level crossings. We did have to come off the track bed because it was built on, but we ended up at Stanbridge, going along up the Sewell cutting, past Tottenham Knowles and all that, into what was Dunstable North. Dunstable North is where this particular branch finished and our one started, the one to Welwyn Garden City. From Dunstable North, past the cement works, which is of course now all gone, over the bridge to Dunstable Town, which again is all gone. Following the track bed, which is now a misguided busway, over the M1 bridge to Chorley Crossing, which is sort of there kind of thing, and then into Luton Bute Street. Out of Luton Bute Street we followed the track bed nearly all the way down to what was Luton Hoo Station, which is still there now, the only one still in existence. Underneath, the London Midland Railway to East Hyde. East Hyde is where we go over the road and follows into Harpenden East. From Harpenden East we followed to Lacey Bridge, but then we had to come off Lacey Bridge because the track bed is now owned by private people, so we had to come into Wheathampstead. Wheathampstead we did to Marford Crossing, over to Blackbridge Sidings to Ayot, and then the final bit of the walk we had to come off the bridge, off the track bed a little bit and over back onto the track bed almost to the East Coast main line out of King's Cross. So you can see quite clearly on this map there is an east-west route that we could have followed if the track was still there. All the railway works that they do at St Pancras and at Euston, well, instead of getting off and getting bus, we could have gone this way, but no, I'm afraid it's all sadly gone. But that is the route that we have done in the last 5 years. Speaking first? Blue bar.
What do you think?
Right. Well, what can I say, Gavin? This is the end of an era. We have now done the entire length of the railway line. 5 years in the making. I thoroughly enjoyed not only your company, your expertise and all this filming, all you've done, all the camera work, all the expense that you've gone through, all I've done is photocopied a few pictures out of good old Geoff's book, which I'm ever so grateful for. But what a marvellous thing we've done. It gets us out, gives us the exercise. Who knows, in 50 years time a lot of the track bed that we filmed may not even be there. And as Geoff said in his book, who would care? Whenever we've walked on these walks, we've always come across people and asked what we're doing. We've explained, oh, what's this, a railway line? It beggars belief sometimes. But it's a bit of history that we have saved, hopefully forever. This will go on way after we've passed away, which hopefully won't be for a long time yet.
We hope not.
But I'm ever so grateful. And Gavin, a good friend of mine, I've known Gavin for years. We're ex-Monarch and we'll work for TUI. So we're still together, we're still good friends, and may that continue.
Andy, thank you so much for the last 4 or 5 years that we've walked this route, and really appreciate your expertise, hard work, putting it all together, and the pressure and stress of getting it all in order and saying what you've said. I've really enjoyed it. It's been fantastic being with you, but this ain't the end, you know. We've still got Harpenden East to film for you, of which Andy has his layout, which he'll film later in the year, and we'll talk you through that as well. But we have a few specials planned as well.
Indeed, a bit like Top Gear. The programme might have finished, but the specials now start.
That's it. That's it. Please subscribe to the channel. Significant amount of people watch our videos, but the subscriptions aren't there. Please subscribe. Put a thumbs up if that's the least you can do. It tells us whether what we're doing is actually making you smile in some sort of way. We do appreciate those who take the time out to watch and comment, and we've got quite a few people that talk to us quite a lot when they see us out and about, so that's really nice too. Shows a bit of appreciation. But for us, actually, we enjoy just being out here. So thank you so much for watching our videos, and stay tuned for the next one. Until then, stay safe, look after yourselves, and keep walking. Get outside. It's good for the mind and it's good for the heart.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
And then you go, you know, what are you going to do on a Sunday? Because it's become a leisure for some people.
Yeah.
Shopping, or just window shopping. Having a look around is what they want to do.
Test, test, test.
Test, test, test.
Go again.
Test, test, test.
Yep.
To complete our walk to Welling, we are now just about going through the Kissing Gate, along this little footpath, along here to...
We'll try that again.
Right.
Tell you what. So
yeah, cheers.
Here we go.
Just as we're about to leave Welling, we are now... Stop. It is a bit slippery. No, you'll be all right, Gavin.
Okay.
Just take it easy. Use your wall. Use the wall.
Nice and easy there. Well done, Andy.
Right. We're here.
So probably couldn't bring the train down here now, could we?
Well, they'll have to clear it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant for the garden.
What, leaf mould?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what I make mulch from, is it?
Mulch, yeah, exactly. Just trying to see if there's any infrastructure. Oh, yeah, there's one. Oh, is it? No, maybe not.
I think that's a real tree.
I think you're right. I think that's a real tree.
Oh, it was.
Certainly don't think... I don't know if we'll do a little bit of filming here. We can just say something about it.
Yes.
Okay. Just maybe... I'll talk about the cutting here.
Sure. Running the other side, of what we just saw, that little channeling of the water runoff, is another concrete post, and it's still active today. Oh, hello. Would you find this exciting? Yes. We are, as I always said, greeted by many.
Okay, this is taken from the same location, just a different train from the previous picture, heading around Digswell Curve on the up line towards Ayot. No, it's not. It's on the down line heading towards Ayot. It's a blooper.
It is. Let's start again.
Right.